Hi, good people. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever that you're watching from. I am more than happy because this is our month, our Women's Month. This month is all about women, and different women are coming up with different things. People are discussing all sorts of things. Here at CBC, we decided to make it purpose, and not just normal purpose. We have a queen with us, somebody that birthed her purpose in a place of silence. Most of us would call that a dry season, a season where there is nothing maturing, a season where there is no growth. The person that I have with me tonight birthed a crown in a silent season. Ladies and gentlemen, she is pursuing a master's in climate change and development at Makerere University. And she is not, I already mentioned that she is a queen. She is the reigning, today actually marks the last day of her crown, but to me, a crown is not something that you just have one day. Even after her crown, she will still have it or reign with it. She is the Miss Climate Change Awareness 2025-2026. Ladies and gentlemen, she is a country representative of the Commonwealth Youth Ambassadors Policy Networks. She is not just a woman of purpose, but she is a woman after God's heart. She serves and she is a preacher of the word where she goes to church. Join me to welcome not just a queen, not just all the things that I've mentioned, but somebody that is so dear to me. I call her my actual sister, Queen Namirembe Sandra.
Hello. Hello, CBC family. I'm so much happy to be here. Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to share with the people of God, to share with the people of the world. It's such a pleasure. So thank you so much for having me. I don't take this for granted. Yeah. And also just the fact that I've been behind camera on the set and today I'm here, it's such a privilege.
We've been talking about this and I just couldn't wait to wake up today because not just a friend, not just a queen. As you can see, we are being royal today. Your yes was special. It's not something that had to just happen. It is really special. So thank you for your yes.
You're welcome.
And you really, really look royalty.
Ooh, Queen Sandra.
Yeah, so Sandra, or Queen Sandra. Our topic tonight is the silent season that birthed the crown. So before we even get to the crown, we want to hear about the silent season.
Wow.
Yeah, tell us about the silent season.
I think most of us in life, we all experience the silent season, but it just comes at different levels. And I also experienced one in my time, and that was the beginning of 2025.
Okay.
I was really in a place of isolation, I should say. I had just lost my job from my previous workplace. That really came so abruptly. I didn't really see it coming. And so the Lord led me to a place of isolation where I was not having anything to distract me in terms of work, in terms of, because my before life was 9 to 5, this, that.
Yeah,
and so you'd be so busy with a lot of things going on that you don't have that time to sit down and actually think of, wait, what is my life about? What can I do with my life? And it was really a hard time, honestly. Yeah, but I appreciate it because it did birth for me quite a lot, not just a crown, but just quite a lot that I had to do in that time of silence, just being, a woman of purpose. So a young woman trying to figure out life. I didn't want to just sit at home. So with that kind of mindset, I tried to see what can I do for myself. And within that, the Lord worked through it. So I'm so grateful for the silent season because it really nurtured me into a different person. Today I'm a queen, but there is so much more behind the crown that I became under that season.
We are yet to find out. We are yet to find out.
Yeah.
You mentioned something to do with uncertainty, like that was your time where you just did not know what comes after this. And then you mentioned that you lost your job in that time or before or the beginning of the year. Yeah. And you said it was abrupt. So what exactly happened? Because people would love to know. I mean, how do you come from that kind of place and then here? Yeah. So,
wow, that's so beautiful. So just maybe to take us back before, I worked my first job at this company. Yeah, I'll not disclose, but
it's okay.
At this company, I was good. Everything was good. I worked there for 4.5 years. And I was among the top performers,
That's a long
honestly.
time.
And yeah, I was among the top performers. So it's really, even when they gave me my letter of expiry of my contract, I was so questioning myself, and everybody
why?
around me was like, wait, Sandra, in all people, it can't be Sandra. It can't be Sandra. So, but it came with so much peace, honestly. It came with so much peace because I had been in a place where I wanted to leave this place, but I didn't have a reason to. Yeah, because I felt like there was so much more before me or that I can do out of this place. I just felt like this is a seasonal job. This is not where I'm supposed to be. However much I was comfortable financially as well, everything was good and it gave me reason to stay. But deep down inside of me, I just felt like there was so much more before me that had to, step
It wasn't
into.
leading you to your purpose.
Yes. So there is that deep feeling of what can I do? What more can I do about this? Or what more can I bring to the table as a woman? I didn't want to just do sales. I was doing sales. I just didn't want to do sales. You know how they tell you, where do you see yourself in 10 years?
Yeah.
And honestly, you're not seeing yourself in that kind of career.
Yeah.
That was my kind of life before. But I was okay. And I kept on telling God, like, I really want to leave this place, but where are we going next? So just maybe to still take you back, I had got into the climate space.
Okay.
Some time back, like 2 years before that time. And I was trying to maneuver here and there. Long story short, I got into the space. And so I was doing, alongside my 9-to-5 job that was in sales, I was still maneuvering the climate world, but I didn't have a reason to go there completely. So when this time came for me to, to leave the job that I was doing, it really gave me a reason now to start pursuing climate properly, because I could see a future for myself in climate. I wanted to impact people beyond just my workplace, beyond just Kampala, because this is a global crown, honestly. When you speak climate change is beyond just Uganda. It knows no boundaries.
Even
So
in Uganda, it's not even that loud. So
yeah, it's
I want
not that
you,
loud.
you tell us more about it.
Yeah. So finding myself in a place that I felt like, now this is worth the pursuit. This is worth me pursuing and going in for it. Yeah. So that was my life before and how we get to the crown place. And yeah, so I intentionally start pursuing, looking for jobs in climate. Honestly, it was really tough.
Are there jobs here, like climate change jobs in Uganda?
They are actually, but you need to actually understand climate, and I just knew the basics of climate, honestly. So it really pushed me to a place of understanding that I need to work for this. I need to really put in more effort in terms of like maybe education, in terms of like pushing myself out into more activities that are climate related and looking for the jobs. And looking for the jobs, if you have lost a job before, I don't know, like, but for someone who has lost a job before, looking for a new job and then a career switch at an old age, because really it's easier for you to switch your career earlier than later. So everywhere I was going, they were looking at my CV and they're like, wait, what exactly do you want? You've spent 5 years almost building a career in sales and you want to just switch it. Are you sure?
In a country that does not recognize climate so much.
Exactly. And so like deep down inside my heart, I knew like, yes, I actually want to change. But I don't know where to start from. And now that's where we go back to the drawing board. What can we do, God? I went back to the prayer closet.
So the silent season actually gave you time to try and align and focus.
Yes, because I had a lot of distractions. My 9-to-5 was fulfilling, was okay. I had good salary. I was earning well. But, that place of comfort was not going to birth for me whatever I am today. Yeah.
That's right. Comfort has never birthed anything. Yeah. So I love what you're saying, and you speak really like a woman that knows exactly what she carries. So that speaks a lot about the purposeful woman that you are. But I'll take you back a little. When you were speaking, you kept saying you were okay financially. I know you to a good extent, yeah. And I have seen, I follow you literally on all your socials, and most of the questions people ask you are like, your life seems perfect. You also just mentioned that financial, status, you were okay, yeah. Even the job. Now, in that point when you had lost your job, yeah, speak to us about that, like, because some girls could look up to you. Oh my God, she has the crown. She is the queen of climate change. I said, I follow you, I saw you bought a car. In that time when you had lost a job, and then so many other things. Yeah. I want you to speak to a woman who thinks, because you just told us you had a silent season and a lot was going on, but the outside world looks at it as perfect. Yeah. Yeah. Just speak to us from that
Wow,
area.
that's a good one. Honestly, I feel like social media is good because it impacts our lives in a better way. We look up to people and we change. But I also feel like it is so misleading because there is no such a thing as perfect. Everyone is battling with something, even if we do not show it. Like, no one is going to show their skeletons instead of, their crown instead. Yeah.
Definitely.
So most of the times we end up showing the good side, but also, yeah, I did have my time in that time where I felt like today, and being a queen, you have to come out looking like a queen, whether you have money, whether you do not have, because still people have that honor towards your name, towards your being, that you are a queen. So you have to put on your lipstick.
You don't have to look like your problems.
Yes, put on your nice clothes. But honestly, I was struggling. I was struggling.
Tell us about those silent battles that you were fighting in that season. We want to hear that.
So just before the crown came, that season of, the silence and then the struggles and all that, honestly, I went through depression.
Really?
Yeah, I did go through depression, even when I didn't want to accept it. So being, a strong woman, and this is what we are encouraged all the time, be a strong woman, you have to be tough and all that. And honestly, you have to be tough.
Yeah.
But if it gets really out of hand, try to seek for professional help. And that's what I did for me in my time. It really came at a time where I didn't expect it. There is this one night I just went back home. And I live alone, so it's really a bit depressing, like coming back to the house, you're alone, everything just goes silent, and what next? So it just dawned on me, like I had prayed, I had fasted, I had sought God, I had done applications, no answer, no one wants to deal with you.
Silent season indeed.
Yeah, so it became so heavy for me, and I was dealing also with different losses, personal losses, apart from just a job. So everything felt so overwhelming. And I remember going back home this night, and you know when you go back to your bed and just cover, and then you cry those little cries. Honestly, this time I was loud. I was loud.
You were letting it all out.
I was loud because I couldn't really contain the pain that I was having. I just felt like everything is too much for me. And I do have a friend of mine who works for a counseling firm. Luckily, I feel like God was just preparing me for all this, and I'm so grateful. Yes, because I didn't have money at that point. I was financially so badly off. So badly off. When I say badly off, we shall get there, but like it was really so bad.
But you didn't look anything like that.
It was so bad that there is a morning I woke up, I wanted to take milk, like 1 cup of milk, like 500 ml of milk, and I couldn't afford it. I went to the shop and I realized like I cannot afford the cup of milk, and I went back home, looked everywhere, even for coins in my house. I couldn't find.
Oh my God.
But on the ground, my friend, you can't smile for people. And then people will be like, Sandra is a happy person, but you don't know what I'm dealing with. And it was those moments that made me feel like I was once in a place of privilege. I could afford all these things. And look, today I don't have them. So also that kind of pain helped me appreciate those times better. Today I appreciate the little that I have. I'm not really so well off, but every little that I have right now, I take better care of it now.
That's beautiful. I love that. I think everybody gets their preparation season. For me, I would call the silent season your preparation season. So how you actually take it, or whatever you do in that season, could either birth you a crown. Of course, yours could be that. For some people, it could be a different thing. And then instead of birthing, just kill everything for you. Yeah. So I'm so happy that actually that you had that preparation season or silent season, because we can see the great things out of it. So before we even get to the question that I want to ask you, I'll first ask, in that moment, did you ever get self-doubt? Were there any conflicts within yourself? Yes, you are now giving the climate space more time, but did you ever feel like, I've lost everything, literally? Yeah. What about me? Will there be anything even when I try to pursue this climate change thing?
Yeah, so on that, honestly, self-doubt, not really. And I thank God because I had a good community around me, people that believed in me. My mom, really, I really honor her. She has raised me to be a woman who believes in myself, regardless of everything, that is around and all that, because it's not the first time you're really experiencing a hard time, but how you express yourself, and then also having a church community, because that time God kept on speaking to me. Yeah. God spoke to me through prophecies, through dreams, and I knew that something was going to come out, but I didn't know what exactly and when. Now, that uncertainty is what maybe created the depression of, it's a lot, it's all happening. I don't know what to do about it. Yes, God, you're saying this, I'm praying, but where is the answer? Yeah, so, but actual self doubt like me, you need to believe in yourself as a person. There is quite a lot inside of you as a woman, and I'm a woman empowerment advocate. I do believe that women have so much inside of them. Every one of us is unique, and you have a purpose why God brought you here on earth. So it may not be today that you realize your purpose, but just know your time is coming, and when the time comes, everything is going to be just so smooth. You will enjoy your season, you enjoy your purpose, but try to have that mind of, what did God create me to do? And I want to do it. Have the willingness, like, God is going to use the people who are there, Yeah.
Yeah. So. The preacher in you is coming out before I call her. I'm happy. And actually, I admire that about you. Like, you're very confident in everything, the small, the big. So I knew the answer, but I wanted to hear it from you. I believe there was no self-doubt at all. So was that season, is it the reason that pushed you to where you are now, to Miss Climate Change Awareness?
I love to talk about that so much because during that silent season, with all the battles that were happening, I had to figure out things. I tried to figure out things. Do not just sit down in your silent season. Ask God, but also try to put in the work, like, what can I do? So I really advise every woman out there, every person out there, use every opportunity that, surfaces, because you don't know what those opportunities can become. Everything that I've become today has been a result of me, taking a step of, involving myself, taking that opportunity that I'm seeing. I've always seen opportunities, but I used to just lay back. But this time I was in a season where I needed even the smallest bit of it could help me step up. So the climate space is really very, very complicated in Uganda. I don't know about other countries, but it's so hard for you to put yourself out there. And it was one time, my idleness, I was scrolling through a WhatsApp group for women in climate change. And I see this flyer going around of, oh, Miss Climate Change. I'm like, I've never heard of this. So I check out on the socials. I try to do my background. It has never happened before. And I'm like, wait, is this the first time this is going to happen? And I've always loved beauty pageantries. I've always followed. I one time thought I would be Miss Uganda, something. But hallelujah.
It's real.
And so, like, I've always had that passion for beauty pageantries. And having that passion, I knew what is needed in a beauty pageantry. And I'm like, looking at the space of climate here in Uganda, I think I can do it. So I see this flyer and I'm like, you know what? I sent to all my climate girlies. Shout out to my climate girlies. I sent them, I sent them the flyer in our group. And I'm like, guys, who wants to try out this? Don't you think it's a good thing? And everybody seemed to be so busy that they cannot involve. But I was the idle one. I feel like really God made that time for me. Like I needed the separation for me to have the time to involve. Yes.
Wow.
And so I'm like, but they all said, but Sandra, I think you really thrive in this. You can. It's like, guys, are you sure? I don't want to lose. Like anybody, no one wants to lose. And something inside of me, even if I was so fearful of, the loss, I don't want to lose. Something inside of me was like, this is an opportunity. Where are you going to get this from? You need to build your CV in the climate space.
Correct.
Honestly, currently, my CV is heavy because of this crown. And so, like, I do apply. I go through the processes, but I see God. I could feel the Holy Spirit speaking through me that this is mine. This was made for me because it was the first one of its own. First of all, it has never happened.
I mean, you're the first ever
Down in history. you
Okay,
know,
queen.
down in history, Queen Sandra.
Yeah.
And all this happened. And every time, even when I went for auditions, I would come out like, even my fellow competitors would look at you like, you deserve it. I remember during the boot camp, we did those kind of votes. You vote for yourselves, like, who do you think the queen should be? Because they give you that kind of free will. And most of the queens, if not all, they were all voting for me and another person. So it was always, you vote for two people, but then they kept on voting for me and another person. Like, but I came out in everybody's, I kept on coming. I'm like, God, this is ours. And because this is ours, I'm going to put in all the efforts. Honestly, I went for this crown like I was on an interview.
I was on the team. Oh my God.
Thank you to everyone, honestly.
Yeah.
Honestly, thank you to everyone who showed me so much love. And even when I wanted to hold back, like not to tell my friends, maybe my ex-workmates, I didn't want to tell them that, there is some that I needed support in the voting and all that. But one person saw it and shared it in the entire group. These people went, foot surgery. They kept on looking for votes for me. I saw God, honestly. It was good. It was good. And I'm really grateful to everyone because I really saw people's love. It also taught me so much how much community is very important. We need to build community that you can, rely on. I saw my church community. People I didn't even think would come out for me. I saw it was God because it was my time. And the Lord was just making it all happen.
I love that. Yeah. So many people say it, but life is spiritual, and also times and seasons are very, very, very important. Yeah. So it was very important for you to realize that it is your season, which was very hard because you were just from a silent season. You were actually still in it before you could start pursuing this. Yeah. So I love it for you. I was part of the team. Like I said, we are really, really homies.
Oh, yeah.
So I could see, and let me tell you, I couldn't recognize that person. Yeah. So you pursuing something is different from the Sandra that I knew. Yeah. You were away, but we felt your presence in every group that was created for you. So that speaks a lot about the woman that you are. Purpose stands out. Yeah. So the twist of becoming Miss Climate Change Awareness, the first ever 2025-2026 in Uganda, the twist of coming from a job loss. Tell us about the switch. It's like being, I could say it wrongly, somebody has not been anything, and then all of a sudden they're like, you know what, I can be woman MP for this, right? Yeah. And then they stand. And then probably it is their time also or season. They pursue it and then become woman MP of whatever. Yeah, it is not easy to just switch. Two things. One, you could get overwhelmed and fail at that role. Two, it could make you the best version of yourself, which I saw with you. So how was that easy? How did the manifestation happen and come easy for you?
Well, I'll begin with this. I should say that the feet of a righteous man are really ordered by God. And I've seen how God, orders my footsteps. He has really, I know like after this season that I'm in currently, you might have a hint of it, but like I know there is somewhere that God is preparing me to go. Yeah. And so that was the same thing. When that job got done, the panic of the inside, like I didn't expect this. Financially, I had not planned for what is ahead. So everything is just not making sense. But I was so calm on the inside because I felt like I asked God for a reason to live. And now this is the reason for me to live. And so I do believe that He has a plan for me, even as I move out. So yeah, with everything happening, just like I said, the feet of a righteous man are ordained by God. I've had so many compliments when people hear me speak because of my voice.
Yeah. Oh, you have a nice voice.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
So people just feel like I'm vocal and then I can really speak. So I was trying to figure out life, whether either to get into the gender space, whether to get into climate space, whether communication, because I was trying to look at everything that I have in potential, to explore. And I have a friend of mine, she's called Gloria. She was attending the Kampala School of Public Speaking. And I was like, this is something that I actually want to, to be part of. I think I need to improve myself. But I didn't know what God was preparing me for. So I go into that class. Even the tuition was very little, but I looked for it because I was in a place of, financial distress, I should say. It was so hard for me to even attend the lectures, but I made it. I saw how God helped me. Trust me. I'm a better speaker. I may not be perfect. I'm a better speaker. God prepared me to understand how to speak to different types of people, because everybody needs a different audience. Different audiences need different information. So I learned how to maneuver around public speaking, self-esteem, and, confidence in me. And that really prepared me for Miss Climate Change. So that was a month before we went in for boot camp. And by the time I went for the boot camp for Miss Climate Change, trust me, the self-esteem was up here. The confidence was up here. Like I knew what to do in terms of speech. So all this was preparing me for not just the crown that day, but also for the different engagements that I was going to, involve myself in as Miss Climate Change. I've attended high-level, dialogues, high-level panels, and they require it to be really well put together, in terms of speech. So all this prepared me for the woman that I was becoming. And I didn't use my silent season for, to just coil in bed. And I told God, what can we do about this? And so also on the part of plot twist, like switching career, it's one of the hardest things, switching from something that you've been doing for a long time, that you have gotten mastery in.
Experience, yes.
Yes, and then getting into something that you have a little knowledge of, but not so much.
You're just learning into the space.
Exactly. So that point was not easy when I got the crown, because this is a crown of purpose. It's not like it's actually one of the reasons as to why I involved in it, because it speaks purpose. Miss Climate Change Awareness Uganda.
You are a guest for purpose, so we see it.
Yes.
We see
Yes.
it.
So I knew that I had to have the knowledge. Yeah, it's not just about, it's more than a crown. It's not just beauty and then, look lovey-dovey. You have to have the content. And climate being a wide space, even up to now, there are certain concepts that I do not understand about climate because they are quite wide. I'm a master's student in climate, you can imagine, but climate is so dynamic. It's a lot. And so getting to different spaces and being the public figure that you are, everybody thinks that you know everything climate. That really pushed me to pursue a master's, because I knew, I need to broaden my knowledge in this sector. This is my place. This is my new career. This is my career to pursue. So I need to really have the knowledge. Even when you go on those panels, you need to speak knowledge, because everyone is looking at you. You're their face.
Definitely.
Yes. So it was God, honestly, because back then in 2025, if you had told me to go back for a master's, honestly, it was not on my to-do list anytime. Maybe like in the future, but not anytime. But I'm so glad everything happened. And today here we are.
Yeah, so now we are speaking Miss Climate Change Awareness. So many people, even myself, besides being around you and trying to learn all these things that you're doing, see you moderating at high level, talks for climate, I'm sure so many Ugandans do not know much about it. I understand that you're an advocate for gender, for the women empowerment and the like. So tell us how you're doing that in the climate space.
Wow, I love that. It's my expertise.
Yeah, tell us about it.
Well, climate is lovely, honestly. Climate as climate, but we have something called climate change. Weather is part of climate, but when it changes within a long time frame, it becomes climate change. So those changes in the weather patterns in a long term, registered in a long term, is what we call climate change. And when climate change happens, it doesn't only affect us here in Uganda. What Uganda suffers, Kenya will suffer, South Africa will suffer, someone in Australia will suffer, someone in the US will suffer. So climate has no boundaries. What happens in USA can easily happen in Uganda. It may not be the same kind of effects, but we all experience climate change. So this is a global crisis. And so it means that all of us are supposed to be concerned about it. We should not just, live and just not be concerned about it. And that's what is actually happening in our country. There is less climate change knowledge, and that's why this awareness. That's why this crown is actually called not just Miss Climate Change, because it would have ended there, but it's Miss Climate Change Awareness. So we are here to, to give the public the knowledge that they need about climate change, to make them aware. People need to first be aware. So when I tell you that, Chloe, do you know that when you use your car on a daily basis, it's contributing to the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, and it is going to create this and this and this and this. The global warming will come, you'll be affected. We shall actually reach a stage whereby people do not have actually a free access to oxygen. Imagine a world like that, where everybody has to pay for oxygen because you can't actually access proper, yes. So we need to make the climate concept a bit more, relatable to people. It's really too scientific, but like the relatable bit of it, like the normal things that you do on your daily basis, yeah? The effects that come along with climate change, they do affect our lives, our personal lives in our normal beings. Children fail to go to school because of the heat waves. Even yourself, you'll be so uncomfortable. Imagine a baby that is being maybe 2 months and they are so uncomfortable because the heat waves are so much. A pregnant woman, you can imagine the state they will be in when the heat wave is so much. Or maybe the floods, and then the landslides have destroyed their gardens, their what. And these are the things that actually happen in our real lives. But we decide not to look at them, or we decide to think that we cannot do anything about them. So creating awareness about climate change, teaching people how it comes about. Yes, it comes about by human activities mostly, but what can you do if it comes by human activities? It means that we have the tools within us to actually...
The same human people
to
do something about it.
Yes, to combat climate change. So then we start teaching people what they can do, how can they participate. We have this saying, the people think that this kind of big crises are supposed to be handled by only government, but that's a no. All the small efforts that we are going to do will come together and they create lasting impact. Right now we are starting to have a bit of positive results from human behavior change because of climate change. So because now people are starting to be a bit sensitive about climate change, we have seen that countries in the Western world, they have started using more trains. They don't drive so much. They ride their bikes. They walk when they can walk. So all those reductions in, the contribution of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere is all changing the climate state now. So we are seeing positive results slowly. But countries back home here, it's actually a privilege to own a car, like to drive. So this kind of awareness, if it can be put out there in one way or the other, then it will help us all create lasting solutions for the entire world, not just Uganda. Yeah. And I think maybe the other thing, people really wonder where gender comes in when it comes to climate, because personally, that is my area of...
That's your advocacy.
Yes. Where women come in. So women are the most affected by climate change in the entire world.
Tell us how.
Yes. I know.
Tell us how.
Our male people don't get... just calm down. We are bringing it. So in statistics, it said women are the most affected by climate change. But you could ask yourself why. Well, when you see a man and a woman, they have different roles that they play in the societies. Some it's because of how we are created naturally. As women, we are caretakers of the environment. It's a woman to sweep, it's a woman to mop, it's a woman to fetch water, it's a woman... The men go and work and they leave you to sort out everything. They never know how everything, comes back here. So we see that women, because of their gender roles that they play in the society, they are so affected when these climate calamities come. So imagine maybe water scarcity. That is a very essential thing. So you imagine a girl walking long distances, a young girl, because you see, you be many at home, the boys will do, something else, but the girls are the ones to fetch water, the ones to cook. Where does that water come from? You ask yourself, where these girls, when they are going through their menstrual periods, we have cases of Karamoja, girls in Karamoja, they're actually suffering, especially they don't go to school in such times of, because they do have long-lasting water scarcity periods, yeah? So you imagine that their health is affected in that time. They are not able to access water to, refresh themselves, and so they cannot go to school because their male counterparts are pointing fingers at them. So in the long run, you realize that there are so many things that add on and add on and add on, that women suffer because of climate change. Some really face domestic violence because of climate change. A man will come back to his home without food on the table. This woman is a farmer. There is an elongated drought season. There is no water maybe to irrigate. There is no water to cook that food that he left home. And do not look at this from a place of privilege because you can own that water. But think about the least person who is not able to get water. Yeah?
Yeah.
So cooking that food is going to cause someone to get anger issues at home. A man will slap you. There are cases where women have been killed because of this. So women are really affected more. We have not said that men are not affected. They are. But when you look at the statistics, women are more affected.
Yeah.
And so that's why we do advocate for their representation in the climate space, to shape solutions to the climate crisis, to involve themselves. How can they be involved? They have their own solutions, but they have not been recognized globally. And probably these are the solutions that we are looking for to maybe have a better climate space or better solutions for the climate crisis.
That's nice. That's lovely. Yeah, so you have a wealth of wisdom when it comes to climate change, awareness. I've learned a lot myself. I hear your advocacy. I'm a woman. It's the month of women, and I love it. Yeah. So, what legacy as Miss Climate Change Awareness? I see you are already working towards it. But what legacy would you want to leave? Because it will be in the history of Uganda and all over the countries that appreciate climate change. Yeah. So, we would want to know, what legacy did the Miss Climate Change Awareness leave in Uganda? Yeah.
That's a good one.
Tell us.
Well, I want to speak for myself as a woman of purpose. I call this a crown of purpose. So even as my reign ends, I want to continue with my advocacy, because it's actually the reason as to why I pursued the crown. So I want to continue with my legacy on global platforms, on national platforms, but also at grassroots levels. So, I am blessed to be a Be Visionaire. There is a program that is by Mercedes-Benz. It is sponsored by Mercedes-Benz, and it does sponsor young people in the climate space, in the social impact space, in the sustainability space, to come up with projects that are planet positive. And so I've been on this fellowship. It goes for 3 years, but I'm on my first year, and really I'm already learning a lot. So I'm coming up with a project. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, we are coming up with a project, and this project is going to become a legacy because it will become an organization with time. And this is going to empower mainly women in the climate space to take up leadership roles in climate change. I've been a climate leader at my level as a youth person, and I know how much impact I've created, contributing to solutions, not only here. There are global platforms I've used because of my leadership role. And I've, spoken out messages that are going to shape policies. And policies, we know how much policies can be so vital for our world or for our country. So yeah, I'm coming up with a project. It will be out by June, hopefully. Yeah, so please support me on this journey, even as we begin it. I can't honestly do it alone, but mainly I want to impact women. It's really to impact women, to give them leadership skills that they need to effectively participate in different levels of climate change. Because I was once there, and I didn't have the skills that I needed maybe to get to certain levels. And I went through a certain training on a personal basis. But how much more maybe a woman out there looking up to me as maybe Miss Climate Change, I'll tell her what to do. This is what you do. Don't do this. This is how you
Actually going to
speak.
mentor them, coach them.
Yes. So it's going to be like a mentorship actually program. Yeah. Yeah.
I need to sign up because I love what you're doing already. I had you speak about global stages where you've spoken. I witnessed it. I've seen you. Actually, let's talk about that. The very first time you ever traveled, was it for climate?
Oh, yes.
And in that very year, you've more than 2 countries.
Yes.
And right now, I could say you've been to more than 6 countries, but 3/4 of that is all climate change. I actually remember when you had just started that journey, yeah? And because when you had just joined, you told me there is a gap.
Yeah.
like I'm getting here because probably, yes, I'm passionate about women and the climate space is going to give me that. But there was a gap between here and where you are now. So how were you able to bridge this gap? And tell us how you made it to all those countries and got the opportunity to speak about, because now you're getting the masters, probably you're now at a better place to speak, but you got to speak even before you learned much more about climate change.
Wow, I really love that. Thank you. I love the question. So, one misconception that people think, for you actually know me. That's why you know the countries I've traveled to. But people think I've traveled the whole world. I'm telling you, I receive calls where people will be like, I didn't think you'd pick, maybe you're out of the country. I'm like, guys, come on. So yeah, there is that misconception. People think I'm always on the plane. But back in 2023, that's when I got into the climate space. When someone sees me here today, they think maybe it's been 10 years or something of pursuing climate, but honestly, no. I started way back in 2023. I own a man called Mr. Edwin Namakanga. He really held my hand. He's actually a mutual friend with me and Chloe. So we met in a very...
Edwin is live.
I know.
Yeah, he's watching.
We met at a Christian event. We became friends. But God had a better reason as to why we were meeting, honestly. I couldn't see myself in...
He leads the steps of a righteous man.
Exactly. Because I couldn't see myself here today if it was not for Namakanga. Like, I didn't know anything climate related, but he kept on posting his climate work, doing everything that he does. It inspired me. I saw him travel. Like, this is what I want. I want to impact on global spaces, on global platforms. That's me. That's what that's my heart's desire.
Edwin held your hand.
Edwin really gladly held my hand and didn't push me away, because working in a space where people want to shine alone, it's really hard. But I really honor him because he held my hand, walked me through the entire...
I guess like because I believe it's a competitive world. I don't know much about climate.
Every world is. Come on.
I see it through your lens, but I see that a man was holding a girl's hand. Little did he know. So being the Women's Month, I just want to applaud all the men that really hold our hands. Like my husband does that. I mean, when we were starting today, he carried literally everything for me here. So the line that goes that behind every successful man, there's a strong woman, right? I want us to twist it for the men that do it. Let me tell you, if the men that are that have a say in our lives, if they ever stood up one time and just said, you know what, Chloe, you won't do this. Like there'll be no CBC. You understand? But this man says, let's do it. Go for it. Yeah. So I just wanted that moment for those men.
Bless them. Yeah. May our good Lord bless you. And so just to go back to the story, Edwin really held my hand, tried to walk me through the climate space, but I also had passion.
Yeah.
Because I really also tried my way out, honestly. I pushed myself because there are other people that we entered the space at the same time, but they have decided not to, you get. So I knew, actually, when I got into the space, he told me there is a UN conference coming up very soon. Now, it has always been my dream to work for the UN or to have any affiliation towards it or what. And the young Sandra at that time, I just felt like, this is a dream come true.
Yeah,
Let us pursue that.
Yeah.
Yes,
Wow.
Let's pursue this. So I do have other friends in the climate space. We try to work out things. We go for this conference. And it was my first ever trip, to use a plane.
Yeah. To Dubai, right?
Yes, it was to Dubai. And honestly, it was so heavenly because I walked into a place having the word UN. I looked at myself. I'm born from Mokono, deep down, a village called Nachifuma. I was like, is this the Sandra born in Nachifuma? I am standing on a global platform. Yes.
You met a lady that time.
Yes, I did meet Hillary Clinton. Come on.
We have that photo. Yeah.
I did meet Hillary Clinton. I met Bill Gates. I met like all those big people
If you had
at
not
that point.
pursued your purpose, you
Purpose.
will not be there.
Exactly.
Mhm.
But like I just see how God has been doing all this. Even you taking me back, I'm just realizing that you know what? There is so much to be thankful for. Yeah, so and from that day I started maneuvering into the climate space. I get so inspired. But even while at that trip, because of the deep purpose that the Lord has put in my heart of women empowerment. I looked everywhere. I was inspired by the women that were on the global platforms, they're the ones speaking or what. I was so much inspired by them. But I also realized that it's a few of them that are given that chance. Yeah. So it came back to me like, why? Because I would love to be among those women, you know. I want to be a woman of purpose, a woman of global impact. But why is it that these women, there are few women that are involving in this space? So when we came back home, I started realizing that I'm actually passionate about gender in the part of climate, in the part of climate. So and that is actually a big thing in climate. There is a whole sector for gender in climate. And so that's how I get my advocacy line. Like, this is what I'm going to pursue. So with that, I keep on now applying for different conferences while doing my 9 to 5 job, by the way. So I kept on maneuvering both spaces, but I saw myself grow better in the climate space. So from that time, we go for conferences in different countries.
Yeah. After Dubai, you went to
Baku, Azerbaijan. Yeah.
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 Okay.
Yeah. So it's been like an involvement of different countries, but also it has given me, it has opened my eyes to what the outside world can look like in terms of advocacy, in terms of policies, in terms of growth, you know, because I've applied for so many things that have been called. Some things even I just cut them off because maybe I'm at a conference and then another conference is still happening. So I have to cut off one, but there was an opportunity for me to. So if you're out there, please pursue your dreams. It doesn't matter how you begin, because just leave the Lord to take you through. Just begin. That's all He wants you to, and have the willingness for Him to use you.
Wow. I think for me, what I pick, being a woman of purpose as well, I am the fire is burning from either side. Yeah. So I think every woman out there, it doesn't matter what age you are, because the women that are doing the big things now are under 30. I mean, yeah. So you don't have to, we are. So you don't have to wait until you become Hillary Clinton. You don't have to wait until you become Oprah Winfrey. Yeah, but if you're to also look at those women's lives, like from the time they were like children, you could see a different kind of mindset. So I think you just have to be ready to pursue it regardless. I mean, for our queen right here, it came in a place of silence. Yeah. Little did she know that that was her preparation season. And I love the fact that you are a preacher of the word. We are definitely going to have this segment. But I just wanted to know, a woman out there that is confused, probably they know something about climate change, but they just don't know, like, how do I get in? Of course, now they have access. Please follow her on all her socials. She has a LinkedIn page. Yeah, the queen is there. Yeah. So I think, like you've said, before June, before we talk about the project and the like, right now, a woman that wants to at least say, okay, I think I've been in the wrong place and I want to get to the right place. Or I am inspired by her journey and I would like to join. So just tell them how. Okay. I believe you can give some advice on there.
Yeah, definitely. So I'll speak first for the people in the climate space. So really, the only way you can get there is when you get out of your comfort zone and look online. If you have any mutual friends that you see going for these things, if they have any conference that is happening, please apply for it. Especially the ones here, the local conferences here in Uganda. Start like that and build a network.
Somebody will be like, I don't have the money to go for the global one, but I understand there are also opportunities for sponsorship.
Yeah.
So educate them about that as well.
So create a network, and it's through these networks that you get to know what is happening in that space. So even if it's not just climate, maybe gender space, communication space,
Yeah.
you know, whatever space it is, please affiliate with the people in the same field. And these people will keep on posting these things, or there is a conference today, come and join me here, or try to follow those pages, yeah? Know what you want and follow and pursue for it. And through that, push yourself and network, get out of your comfort zone, make proper, meaningful networks. Meaningful networks, these are networks that are going to help you get to another place. You know, it's so easy for you to go into a climate conference and make the wrong networks, because these people are not going to even maybe invite you again to a place, or they are not going to teach you about something. So let them be meaningful. And then about the investments, I made self-investments. It's so actually surprising that everyone thinks that I always get funding for these trips. I have most of the trips I actually, it's only this previous year, 2025, that I've gotten sponsored trips. But all the trips that I had before, I had to do self-investment because I knew where I wanted to be, because I knew what I wanted. So I had to look for the money for those tickets, even when it was so high. Let me tell you, most people say
last minute and you had to pay.
yes. And if I tell you, even in Azerbaijan, I suffered my way out because I knew, like, yes, I've gotten the ticket. Let's go. I didn't have accommodation even as I entered that country, but I was like, we shall figure out the accommodation. And I didn't even have the funds.
How do you enter a country without accommodation?
Of course, like, you have to show that. No. For actually the UN people, your priority, they don't ask you anything. They give you private priority visas. Yeah, they don't even question you anything.
Yes.
So yeah, that's how you get easily. But like, I knew I could, through my networks, I would not fail to get where to sleep. I had to share a bed with my friend who had free accommodation. Wow. So that is the effort. Like, try to push yourself. Do not let the opportunities pass. Yeah.
Love it.
And by the way, even from that conference, I got people who were supporting me through Miss Climate Change. I got featured in different countries' TVs. You can imagine. Yeah.
That's so good.
Because of the networks that I had made
there. I love that you talked about self-investment. I have a live example as well for that. When I started CBC, I told myself, because I think people need to value self-investment from a place. Trust me, it does not leave you in the same place. Yeah, you value it in a way that, let's assume you have a business. Yeah, you're selling whatever thing that you're selling, whatever item, your product. So it is, whatever you do for yourself is as good as, it's the same thing. The moment I buy a ticket to go to China, to go and I'm bringing in my business. Now for you, you are actually the product. Yeah. Sandra, Chloe, I am the product. What do I do for myself? Invest in me. Yeah. So there was this conference that came up. Still, I felt like I needed to, like, it spoke to me in so many ways. Yeah. And I remember telling you, I told you, sis, I am going for this thing. Yeah. I don't know how much it's going to cost me, but I'm going to go. Yeah. And I think also when you put your mind to it, somehow God provides. God provides in ways you just never understand. Yeah.
You just have to be willing.
Yeah. So you need to be a woman that is willing to do self-investment and then also building the network. I love what you said about that, because when people get into spaces, I think it's you need to pray. Yeah, because the very first person you speak to should be guided to you by the Lord. Yeah, I mean, you were in the space and then Edwin just picked on you. You were already friends, yes, but that does not guarantee anything. You understand? So it's very good to build a network, and I love that you said that. We are going to conclude. This would go on and on.
I know.
Yeah, but I feel like we have at least spoken into the climate change, and then we spoke about your job loss, and then the twist and the whole silence. So we've covered the entire topic. But when we're introducing you, we spoke about a preacher of the word that you are. That person in you surprises me too. I want to know how you do it with boldness, because you do. Every time, I've not been present yet, but I'm coming. But I love that because when you put the clips out there, I feel a different kind of person, and I know that the Lord is indeed with you. So how do you do that with boldness? Because so many of us would fear to do that, like to stand in the gap, because that's a whole calling. Like God is saying, do it. I think we feel like a preacher is supposed to be over 40. And then the whole thing of what am I going to tell people with this little experience? Or, I mean, what have I seen about life? So just tell us about that. How do you do boldness? Yeah.
Wow.
And where did you get the courage to do it?
Well, I'll start with the courage bit. How we got there, honestly, I've always desired to be a preacher, to be a minister of the Word of God. I've grown up in a Christian family right from my childhood, so I've been growing up and I've been looking at the pastors. I really love how they live their life, how their pursuits in line with God, and it has always been my desire. I remember back then at uni, I told myself I want to be a full-time minister. I don't want to do these things of jobs. I want to serve. I want to be a pastor on my church. Yes. Yes. And I remember the Lord spoke to me. I thank God because He really speaks to me. And so at that moment, He spoke to me through a pastor, and I got a prophecy that, you know what, you're not called to full-time ministry, but you are called to minister. Yeah. That really broke my heart. Oh my God. Do you know like how a heartbreak would be? I was so broken. But I was like, well, God knows best. I know He has a reason. And so how we got into the preaching, because I've always desired it, but the platform had never come. This crown is a crown of purpose, honestly.
I actually remember it was after you were crowned, and that Sunday you were invited to speak at your church.
Yes. So it comes in a place that it's a youth service at my church, and my church people honor me. Honestly, the honor that I get at my church as a queen, everyone is like, Queen Atulewano, Queen this. And that day it was a youth service, and they're like,
wow,
please ask our queen to be the preacher for.
They requested for it.
Yes, I did not even seek for it.
Do you see what purpose does for you?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You just have to be in the right place at the right time. Let God do His thing. Honestly, I remember that day. I was not even ready, honestly. Yeah. I was not ready spiritually. And I told God, this has come at a time I didn't expect it. Oh my God, like you want to give the best. Yeah. And I remember.
You had always wanted it.
Yes, but it had never come back because God had to. The feet of a righteous man are ordered by God. Like everything has been just playing out so smoothly. And from that day, everybody kept on saying, we didn't know that you were this vocal. We didn't know that you know God like this. Wow. We didn't know that you could actually preach. And from that day onwards, I'm always called like, give us the word for this.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter what kind of season you are going through. You just need to understand that that is not just a silent season for you. Sandra has told us, do more than just what is within your comfort. Like, get out of the comfort zone. I mean, I still also don't know how she's able to be a preacher, go all over the world to pursue her purpose and do whatever it is, and use her crown to be able to do the things that she does. Being the Women's Month, I think that is supposed to trigger you to be able to understand the season that you're in, to understand that life is full of times and seasons. I hope that you enjoyed our episode. Happy Women's Day. Thank you for watching CBC.